You know, I was never predicting a dragon to come into this series, but now that we've got a dragon, I love it even more. Like, oh my goodness, first of all, when this character first came in, I thought she was pretty cool, but the fact that she can actually turn into a whole freaking dragon, that just makes me love her even more. So I can't wait to see her fight this guy. I think it's going to be freaking amazing. The way that he comes out is just so hype as well. He's just like, what's all the commotion? Comes in, you're seeing policemen flying and everything. I'm like, ever since we got his introduction, when Overhaul was basically fighting Magday, when they were having that whole confrontation. When he came in and broke the walls, I knew this guy was going to be lit. He is like a massive Goliath-like character. Obviously, the thing is, what gets me so hyped is that his quirk, he may not be using his quirk, and his quirk may not only just be, you know, like gigantification or like super strength. Imagine if it's something else on top of that. Imagine that's just like his base power. Imagine that. Let that sink in right there. So I can't wait. And what gets me so hyped is that it's not Ryukyu herself, it's her department. Meaning we're going to see Ryukyu fight. We're going to see, I believe her name's Hado, we're going to see her fight. We're going to see Tsuyu and Uraraka. I believe this, I'm so excited for Uraraka and Tsuyu that they're getting involved in this action. I really feel like they kind of been left out a little bit in some of this experience of, you know, fighting real villains, especially Uraraka. I think it's going to be awesome for her character. I can't wait to see how these guys are going to act under pressure. We see it from this chapter. We see Uraraka, Tsuyu, Kirishima, they're all talking a bit, and they're all talking amongst themselves. And they're saying, how can these heroes act so calm under this? So, you know, a little bit of their inexperience did come through in this chapter. So I'm really excited to see how these guys are going to fare up against the 8 expendables. Now, let's talk about the 8 expendables for a second. The character designs. Some guys are looking like scarecrows. Like Horikoshi, I always love his character designs. And I think I've said this before, I may not have already, and I know a lot of people kind of agree with me on this as well. I probably love the villain designs of the series more than the hero. Like, don't get me wrong, Horikoshi does phenomenal heroic designs, but the villain designs, it really does portray that, you know, that eeriness, that tension. It's just so menacing. Like, the character designs, when I first saw Shigaraki, I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is different. I love it. And then we saw, like, Stain, and then All For One. It's just phenomenal. He really does, Horikoshi really does deliver on his villain character designs, in my opinion, and he delivered once again with all of these. Now, the 8 expendables, pretty much, Overhaul gives, the people that Overhaul gives a mask to is not an action, it's not a signal of trust, it's not a symbol of trust. In fact, it's just showing that he's given them the privilege, you could say, of doing his dirty work. He doesn't like to breathe the same air of his pawns. So all of these people, the people that have the masks, that's basically like, okay, you're the one who does the killing for me. You're the one who does all of this for me. So it's kind of cool, and I'm really loving the designs of them, as I've spoken before. But one little thing, I really found it interesting on the way that Overhaul, how the way it was described of Overhaul's expendables. But I really feel like there's 2 people. There's the manager and the, what's it called, the general something, I can't remember. There's 2 of them. The short guy and the guy that we see in this, I think one of his names is one of them's Chronostasis or something like that. I can't remember, but you guys know who I'm talking about. The short guy and the tall guy. I feel like their dynamic with Overhaul's a little bit different than the Expendables. I may be incorrect. Only time can tell, because we haven't really seen much interactions between them. But the fact is that we know for like the first half of this arc, we know it's gonna be a long arc, by the way. But we know that the first half of this arc, not first half, sorry, but we know that the beginning of it is going to be not with Overhaul. Overhaul is going to be away from it. As it said from this chapter, he's going to go in hiding and get Eri, take Eri with him, you know, so that everything doesn't get destroyed pretty much, so that everything doesn't get lost, doesn't get ruined, you know, all that kind of stuff. That they don't truly, you know, their plans don't truly get foiled, so that's why they're running away, Eri and Overhaul. Well, they're hiding. So it's going to be pretty much like these guys, the heroes, facing the 8 expendables. Now, are we going to be seeing a one-on-one, you know, like Deku versing someone? If we do, I will be very intrigued to see how he handles it in comparison to the way he handled the fight with the Waterhorse Killer. So I'm really intrigued by that. Now, what I want, guys, I just want a Mirio fight. I think I'm not the only one saying that here. I want Mirio to fight one of these guys, but I can't wait. Either way, this arc is going to be phenomenal. Like, Boku no Hero is going to be straight fire for the next how many weeks? It's been fire all the time, but it's going to be even more hype. I can't wait just to see the way these expendables, the way they fight. Now, the big expendable that we see at the start of the chapter that is just wrecking some damage, the one that's fighting Ryukyu's, it seems like when they talk about the expendables, he starts laughing. So obviously he's not down. So I feel like we're gonna kind of focus on Ryukyu and them for the time being. I may be incorrect. I'm not really sure how Horikoshi is gonna play it out. Is he gonna focus it on like one-on-one fights, then we move, and then we move, or like we'll have to see. But aside from that, let's get on to the other parts of the chapter. I did love the little cool I love the cool character interactions in this chapter. Horikoshi does it every chapter. Some of them just kind of stood out to me. Was Hado's one, and this is when Suyu says, "Oh, I feel really all of this stuff is really new for me." And then she's just like, "Oh, that was like me as well." And then then she says quietly, and she's just like, "Is this a hobby?" Because obviously Suyu always touches her chin. And then the other one was when Fat Gum gives swordfish to Amajaki. That's gonna be phenomenal. He's gonna eat swordfish, so when he transforms, that's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to see how that looks. I can't wait for that, because I really think Amajaki's quirk is so new and so different and so quirky and awesome. It's really hype, so I can't wait to see that. And Amajaki was just like, I can't remember what he said. He was just like, "Why do I have to eat this?" He said something along the lines of that. Like, he brought up a voice and then he just like became submissive again. It was just like, oh, bless you. Like, he's so cute. It's funny. But other than that, I can't wait to find out more about this character that gets introduced. Now, from the two different translations I read, one says boss, one says father. So I'm not really sure what to go on. All we know is that this person at Oval, basically we see a man in a bed tied up to some machines. Maybe near death, critical condition, coma, we're not really sure. Either way, it's really interesting that this was put in this chapter. Now, my first initial reaction, I was just like, are we getting a next big boss kind of thing of like their arc? Because obviously, we do know that All For One is the endgame villain. But there's going to be other big bosses in this series as well. So is this one of them? I'm not really sure. Now, let's argue. Let's say hypothetically that this is Oval's father. Then maybe it makes sense why Oval's doing all of this. Maybe it's motivation to get his father healthy, to heal him. Maybe because he needs all this money, he needs to do all of this. But also we do know that Oval wants to become the next kingpin as well. So maybe he's doing that because that's what his father wanted to do. Stuff like that. Either way. Now, if it's his boss, I'm more leaning to the fact that it's his father. Just by the way it was presented in this chapter, it seemed very heartfelt in my opinion. If it's his boss, I can't wait to see him. Is he gonna get? I don't know. Because the thing is, imagine, because he says apologies and they get a bit noisy. So imagine, let's say this boss, he can get out of his bed. It looks like he's kind of like bedridden. I may be incorrect, but if he does get out, it seems like that would be pretty hype. Imagine that. But other than that, this chapter, I'm just happy we've got, the whole aim of this chapter. Not aim of this chapter, sorry. The aim of the arc is obviously to rescue Eri, but it's also to apprehend all the 8 preset members as well. So, that's the mission. That's what this arc is. It's going to be awesome. The fact is, which is really interesting as well, and I loved how Horikoshi always does it. He loves to set the scene, Sometimes people may get annoyed. People will be like, oh, it's too much dialogue, but it's necessary. It really is, and it's helpful. So, we find out in this chapter, obviously, due to Night Eye's quirk, he was able to get all the rundowns of the place to an extent. He was only able to get the pathway leading to Eri's room. So, everything else about this building is pretty much in the dark. The heroes don't know where they're going. So, they're obviously going to get, they may get lost, they may get lost and bump into some of the 8 expendables. So I just can't wait to see what happens in the next couple of chapters. And that is enough from me. Guys, please tell me your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about this chapter? What were your thoughts on the dragon? A dragon coming in. The 8 expendables. Who do you want to see fight the most? Also, just before I go, I just remembered one more thing, and that is Gran Torino's absence. We find out in this chapter, Gran Torino had to move because something's happening with the villain alliance. Now, I've got a couple ideas. Either way, I think the main important thing is Horikoshi wouldn't put that in if it didn't mean something, and he wouldn't put that in if it wasn't necessary to this arc. So either they found out something that Shigaraki's been doing. Who the heck knows what Dabi's doing? Like, all we know, we haven't seen what we know Dabi's still working with Shigaraki, but who the heck knows what Shigaraki sent Dabi to do, or Kurogiri? Yeah, like, we don't know. Maybe it's going to do something about All For One in prison, or like Stain, you know? I think a lot of us think All For One's going to break out. A lot of people think Stain's going to break out as well. Maybe it's got something to do about that. So let me know your thoughts and comments below about that as well. So if you like anything I say, please drop a like. That will be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you next week for that greatness that is Boku no Hero Academia 139. Shinami Sam, peace out guys, and goodbye.